Hey everyone, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Get Super with Joshy G on this glorious Tuesday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, very special guest. I think this is the first time in the history of Get Super that I have not one guest, but two guests. I'm talking about the Bollywood Boyz, Harv and Gurv, Sunil and Sumair, whichever way you want to call them. These are my friends. They are joining us. What's going on, fellas? How are you doing?
Sing one, sing two.
We're good, man. Thanks for having us. Thanks for
having us, buddy.
Thank you for joining us. We had to ask a lot of permission to get you boys on, and I'm glad that we were able to make it work.
Hey, we're big Bollywood.
That's right. You guys are
right now
big Bollywood stars. I had to talk to their agent, their manager, their producing partners, but
it all worked out.
Here we are. It did work. We did work out. And not only that, we got also Paul. Paul was our guest last week. He was, I pulled him off of the bench because we had him do a workout. Paul is back to moderating. Paul, how are you feeling after last week's workout?
I feel great, man. I actually haven't left this chair because my legs won't work. But other than that, I feel great. I mean, that Hulkbuster workout's no joke.
That's right. And we'll get into more about the Hulkbuster workout, which is still, folks, you still have a chance to win that Hulkbuster 6 scale by Hot Toys. You can hear Matzo Ball is close to me snoring up a storm. And always, we're always practicing social distancing. Hence why we're not in the same room with
there we go.
My good friend, the Bollywood brothers. So
we're up in Canada anyway, so we're far from you right now.
Oh, we're definitely keeping it super safe.
Very safe. And are we the first brothers to be on the show as well? I think so.
Yes. Well, no, my brother was on a DeadBoys WAD demo, but yes, you are the very first brothers on my show.
Go.
Yes.
A lot of history being made right now.
That's how we should promote this.
Yeah. First set of brothers. First time a 2-person duo or a tag team, if you will, is on the show. And big time Hollywood celebrities.
And Bollywood.
Whoa, come on, John. If you're gonna promote us right.
And I just picked up another one. First Canadians.
Yes, first Canadians.
There you go. Wow. There you go.
The most handsome guest. First handsome.
I'll give that one to Shammy.
Right, that's
Shammy wins that one. So let's get started. Let's talk a little Bollywood. Let's talk a little bit about growing up with you guys being brothers. What was it like growing up in Canada, having a brother so kind of close to age?
I'll take this one, I guess, Harv. I mean, for us, we're 3 years apart from each other. I mean, we always tell everybody there's 3 things we grew up watching: hockey, wrestling, and Bollywood movies. That's it. That was like the family tradition here. And we played ice hockey growing up. We did acting, right, Harv? And then now here we are wrestling, buddy. So
yeah, no, I mean it helps. I mean, we chased our dreams together. So to have somebody to always like lean on, and even when we got into WWE and even our independent days, it was super helpful, to have a brother to travel with. And it just makes it easier, especially when you're on the road.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I have a brother who's 6 years younger, and we did the same thing minus the Bollywood movies, but we grew up watching hockey together. We grew up watching professional wrestling and reading comic books and nerding out and stuff like that. It is fun to have someone that has similar interest in you and being able to nerd out on them when it comes to that stuff. Growing up, you said you became big fans of wrestling. What were some of the wrestlers that drew you in as fans, the ones that you saw on TV that you're like, oh my God, those are my heroes, those are my guys?
Harv, show them your shirt. Show your shirt.
Oh yeah, it says right there. No, the first one obviously was Brett. I think being Canadian plays a huge part into that because he was such a legendary figure up here. Like we had Wayne Gretzky and we had Bret Hart. He was in his peak, and so you're near 6 years old, and Bret Hart's like on every news channel and everything. Right. You're obviously going to draw towards him. As we got older, it was, you got guys like Sean and Eddie Guerrero and obviously Chris Jericho. And when we got into wrestling, like his story was attainable. He was just a kid from Canada who wrestled independence,
right.
So I think his story was really like, kind of like made us want to get.
And we tell everybody this, that when we were on the independent circuit up in Canada, we were trying to pattern our independent wrestling career based off of Edge, Christian, Jericho, like doing all these tours that they were doing back when they were on the indie scenes in Canada, like the Northern Hell tour. I don't know if anyone's even heard of those, where like you drive on these frozen lakes in northern Manitoba and you drive from one reserve to the next just to make these shots, and it's like minus 45 degrees, and you're stuck in a caravan full of wrestlers just trying to make these shots. And that was what Edge, Christian did when they were coming up, and we're like, oh man, if they did that and made it to the WWE, we're gonna do those and we're gonna make it to the WWE. And like at that time, as young 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, whatever we were breaking in, we're just like following their lead and didn't know that it would actually turn out to the way it did.
Yeah, but either did you guys, and that just shows your resilience and the fact that there was a dream that you guys wanted to obtain, and then that at the end of the day it happened. I mean, that's really, really cool. There are not a lot of people out there that can sit there and say like, hey, I want to be a professional wrestler. Hey, I have heroes like Bret Hart, like Chris Jericho, like Edge and Christian. I'm going to emulate these guys and hopefully one day end up be in their same position. And here you guys are so many years later doing exactly what they did. Now, growing up, not taking away from the independent scene, but when you and your brother maybe are in your living room driving your parents crazy, wrestling, this, that, and the other, did you guys have your own personas when you were wrestling each other in the ring or in your family living room, garage, wherever it may be?
It was a parent's bedroom for sure.
So it was funny. I think we recreated WrestleMania 12.
Right.
Like I think 100 times. Gerb was always Sean and I was always Brett. And
yeah, we would make the wing deal.
I think we put it up on. I had these fake. Sorry, I had these fake Bret Hart tights. We just put it up on Twitter.
Oh, I saw those.
So yeah. Gerb would make the titles and
the winged eagle belt that we would make it out of cardboard and just like plaster all the gold on it, and we would pretty much emulate the entire match from start to finish and go 60 minutes just wrestling in our parents' bedroom. And just to backtrack a little bit as well, I mean, for us, not only was it wrestling, but like even growing up, we did every sport together. We played ice hockey together, we did taekwondo together. So like Harv and I were been like glued together, not just as brothers, but like literally best friends, and everything we did. It was really cool. Like we never like, if I was gonna play hockey, he's gonna play hockey. He's gonna do taekwondo, I'm gonna do taekwondo. And that was a cool thing about both of us. We were really close and still are to this day, obviously.
That's great. And not only that, but you guys get to travel up and down the road together when you're able to travel up and down the road again together, right?
Absolutely.
We stopped sharing rooms though in the hotel. Like, that's one thing we were both like, we need our space at the end of the night.
And like obviously growing up as well, Josh, like, we come from a very small family. It was just Harv and I and our parents, right? So like, and for our parents, they struggled a lot coming from India, immigrating here, trying to set a life for us in the early, in the 70s into the 80s for us to have a better life. And, like Harv, you can jump in when you want and talk about like, our parents struggled to have us where we are today. I mean, we always talk about,
just to kind of touch on what Kurt was saying. It's like I remember when we graduated high school, our dad was like, "What do you want to be?" He never forced us to go to college or university, which there's nothing wrong with it, but he was like, "What do you really want to be in your life?" And we're both like, "We want to be superstars," and he never doubted us, never said no. He's like, this is your youth and this is your chance to become something great. I think that comes from because he was a bus driver, a blue collar working man. He knows it's hard. It's hard to make money and it's hard to grind, and you can, but he's like, money's always going to be there. He's like, go chase your dreams.
Yeah. Same with our mom. Like, she's very educated.
Parents love that.
Our mom's very educated. Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was just about to say, like, that's kind of cool because in a way, your dad was more or less another superhero that you kind of looked up to. He was driving you guys to achieve your dreams, and that's
and literally
really cool to hear.
Yeah, they literally drove us, like hockey practice, 4 a.m. in the morning, going out, and I mean, my dad took me to Calgary when I got started with the Hart family in Calgary as well. Like, it made sure I got settled in Calgary and came to the first day of training. I was just looking at pictures the other day of him, dropping me off at the dungeon, at the Hart family dungeon, and getting my start there, right? Like, that was a cool thing. And like, going back to what Harv was kind of saying, the big thing with our parents was that they supported our goals. And coming from an East Indian background, most parents are all, you got the tip, you got to be a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. And our parents were like, never like that. They never forced anything onto us. They're like to Harv's point, whatever you're going to do, make sure you put 110% into it. And I think that's what's helped us succeed, because whatever, and I think we tweeted this out the other day, like whatever we succeed in this business going forward and whatever we've attained so far, it's all dedicated to our parents' hard work, because we've seen their struggle and where they've come from.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Now, speaking of heroes, I know that I've seen Bret backstage. You've obviously got to meet Bret. Were there any other heroes that you got to meet while training, or were there certain heroes that maybe you didn't get to meet that you really wish that you could
have? It's cool. I think Brett, obviously, when we met Brett, has been cool, like beyond words, because he's been like a mentor. We can text them and get advice. Edge is another guy who we met on the independents way before WWE, and he was one of the first people to call us and talk to us when we got signed. Shawn Michaels, I mean, another legendary guy you look up to, and he really helped us come up with the Bollywood Boyz characters in NXT, like before we went and did our thing with Jinder.
Even recently, like up until last October, like meeting The Rock backstage and having a talk with him for like 25 plus minutes, just him talking to us, telling us what it takes to succeed, and don't be afraid of failure, and throwing ideas against the wall. And like a lot of the stuff you see us do on social media, it's like what he told us. He's like, what, keep throwing things on the wall, whatever sticks will stick, and someone's always watching. And we've always kind of,
I think one guy we should mention, Gerv, is like somebody who's really helped us on 205 a lot is John Cena. And that's something a lot of people something a lot of people don't know is we're trying to figure ourselves out right now too. We're in that early stages of our trying to be these Bollywood actors and whatnot. And man, that guy, whether it's 3 days later, but he'll send us a paragraph worth of notes on what we're doing right and wrong. And he's a superstar.
He'll really make us think about what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it, and really getting into a lot of the character stuff you see us doing on TV right now on 205 is based off of the advice we've been given from Cena. It's like, why are you doing this? What's the purpose behind it? A lot of like psychology as far as the character-based stuff goes. And he's obviously is someone, like, to Harv's point, it has really helped us out along the way so far.
Are there anybody out there that or are there any things else besides wrestling and hockey that you guys like, pop culture wise, whether it be an old 80s 90s action movie or comic book characters?
For me, I gotta answer that. I am the biggest Sylvester Stallone mark you'll ever meet. I just love Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, really?
And obviously,
Stallone.
Dude, he's one guy, like, I wish I could meet him. And that's one guy I'm gonna, someday I'm gonna get a just chance to thank him, because Rocky changed my childhood. I mean, I have all Rocky posters in my room. I have the DVD set. Just fascinated with the story of Rocky, because people don't know the actual backstory is just as fascinating as the on-screen character of how he got the movie made. He's this broke actor. Literally, it's amazing. And I don't think he gets enough credit for being as brilliant as he is. This guy's created 3 franchises in the world that have billion-dollar revenues, like Rambo, Expendables, and Rocky. And I don't think people realize how much of an artist he truly is. But he's just, he inspires me beyond words.
Demolition Man, great movie, very underrated. I don't know if you haven't seen that. Demolition Man.
No, I've seen it all.
Well, actually, speaking of acting, I mean,
for me, it was Copland that actually.
Oh, Copland's great. Amazing. Copland, very underrated. Yeah.
I guess I'm done here, guys.
Yeah. What about you, Gerb? What are some things, movies, pop culture wise? Do you like comic books? Do you like action figures or superheroes?
Man, for me, like, honestly, like, I'm just I'm more sports oriented. I like, even to this day, Harv will always tell me, hey, have you checked this out on Netflix, or are you watching this on Netflix? And I'm like, dude, I'm watching 90s Bollywood movies on Netflix.
Right? Now speaking of Bollywood, like, they sometimes do their own take on the superhero genre, right? Like, I know that there's obviously I've seen like a Bollywood version of Superman or Spider-Man or Wonder Woman or this, that, and the other. But is there a Bollywood superhero? I mean, again,
Krish,
call me naive for not knowing this, but is there a Bollywood superhero that kids look up to?
I think the one that's really worked is called Krish. He's an Indian actor by the name of Hrithik Roshan that's done it. But Indian fans audience is a lot different than Hollywood. Like, the Indian audience in India is 60% to 70% is under the poverty line. So you got to be careful on what kind of stuff you're feeding them. That's why a lot of movies are like something they could attain to, like the good guy beating up the bad guys and getting the girl at the end, because it's easily understandable. But I mean, things are changing, and I mean, that's the cool thing about, I think, Bollywood is, like, there's so much room for growth, and it's such a big movie industry. and they're, you know, still haven't truly peaked yet. So that's the cool thing about that.
And some of the biggest,
That's cool.
Some of the biggest actors are from India and around the world, like Shah Rukh Khan, for example. Like, you know, there wasn't there a recent poll or sort of like Shah Rukh was bigger and like more popular than Tom Cruise or so, you know, some of the more.
So that was Cannes Film Festival, the one that's out of Venice, like the most prestigious film festival in the world, named this Indian actor the biggest box office star, Shah Rukh Khan. So that goes to show you the reach of Indian movies, and for us, that's something we're trying to do in WWE. Is
right.
You know, kind of educate the audience, not just be foreign bad guys because we're from India and we're heels. We're from, you know, so I think that's a unique spin we're trying to bring.
No, that's the thing. I don't consider you guys bad guys, but maybe that's just me in the sense that A, we're friends. B, I love characters that are driven like that. And the fact that I live somewhat near Hollywood, or I'm in California. And so that type of character, to me, I you know, laugh at in a good way, is that it entertains me. You know, I mean, there have been plenty of live events that I've been to where I see you guys, you know, interacting with the crowd, and I'm like, I'll turn to whoever I'm with and I'll be like, see, those are my friends. They're such geniuses. Look how they're making it, making the crowd hate them or making the crowd love them by hating them. You know what I mean? That's such a good, you guys do that very, very well, which I appreciate as a wrestling fan.
Thank you. Well, this, you know, that's what I think our strong point is. Like, we're really character driven guys, just because of that. And, you know, we grew up watching the larger than life characters like Brett, Sean, and like, you know, even like Honky Tonk Man, you know, like those guys, like, such longevity with the characters they had back then. So it's just like, you know, that's our strong point, and that's what we focus on, just being more character driven than anything else. I think that and
I think the big thing is we're also, and just, you know, we're looking at the landscape of wrestling in general, and today's wrestling is so different, right? The athleticism is just through the roof, and so we're like, okay, we want to succeed, and we're trying to bring something different, just, you know, on the, hey, we're trying to do this, and I guess it's working because we are trying to be different above the crowd.
You got to stand out from everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a reason why you guys are former 24/7 champs. I mean,
that's true.
That alone,
let's not forget.
They don't just
11 times, right, bro? Something like that between us.
That's great.
I had one streak for a while. Yeah.
Oh, you did have the longest streak. Now, Sideshow Collectibles being a collectibles company, and the fact that, you know, we have everything from 6-scale figures to premium format figures, big statues, art prints, this, that, and the other. What is your guys' favorite collectible? It could be something from your childhood, something that you have now. It could be a title, whatever it may be. What is your most cherished collectible?
So I recently, I do have to, one thing, Zack Ryder, I remember going to his house and like just seeing like all his action figures and toys and all that. I'm like, it inspired me because I'm like, I think 10 years ago, if you collected toys, it was a little weird. But nowadays it is more acceptable. It's more cool. And so for me, as a kid growing up, I was a huge fan of the Batman animated series.
Oh yeah, we love the Batman here.
Yeah, and so I recently, my house in Orlando, I have like massive amounts of Batman toys just spread out randomly. Like I have like the 60s car. I started collecting the Funko Pops, and then I started collecting the animated series figures, which are so super expensive, which I didn't know, which I'm kind of like, you know, somebody should have told me all this stuff is really expensive.
This guy calls me up. He's like, I'm collecting all
ahead,
this Batman. He's like, he calls me up saying, I'm collecting all these Batman stuff, man. Do you want anything? I'm like, dude, what are you talking about, Batman stuff? Where did he get this fascination from? And he's like, oh, dude, like, broski's been like, I'm inspired, man, by his.
So Matt has been on the show. He was a guy that's been on the show, and we were talking about that, and he was saying, and I can agree, sometimes the hunt and looking for the toy is actually more satisfying than actually having the toy displayed. And I completely understand. I mean, we also live in a day and age where, you know, I'm obviously a little bit older than you guys. So my brother and I, we would be searching from Toys R Us to KB Toys when they were around. I guess Toys R Us when they were around. All these different toy stores. You know, there was no internet. There was no eBay to like just go and buy these things. The joy of it was the hunt. It was trying to find it. And so now going back, even now, I had to put a break on it, but there was a time where I was collecting the old Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games that I used to play, and, you know, trying to find the boxes and the instruction manual. Like, it was it's all the joy for me is all in the hunt for it and not actually getting it. Because when I get it, I'm like, oh, I got it, and then I put it on the shelf, and that's it.
I'm gonna collect. For me, it's two things. I grew up collecting hockey cards, like trading cards. So for me, I still collect trading cards whenever I can find. Like, I don't know how much you know about hockey here, Josh, but I got my Pavel Bure collectible right here.
Oh, I remember Bure.
I got this Wayne Gretzky one this lane here for some reason.
Gerb's got this ready.
So, and like I got, and as a huge old school hip hop fan, I mean, Harv, jump in when you want, but I'm a
happy birthday, Tupac, right? Tupac's birthday today.
Happy birthday, Tupac. Yes. And speaking of Tupac, if you look at my wall, I'm gonna just spin this around here for a second. So, can you see it?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like all my Pac stuff that I've been collecting over the years. So.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah. So, and this is nothing. This is like half of what it was back in the day. I mean, now with my wife and with my babies, I put a lot of stuff away, but that's just like a small fraction of what I
want to use this platform of something I do want to start collecting is the Hasbro WWF ring and that the action figures of that time. So I'm like, I've been looking for it. Dude, it's so expensive. So if anybody's out there watching this, you'll send it my way.
Oh yeah, you got to talk to Broski. Broski's he's the Michael Jordan of collecting those things.
That's true. Yeah.
Now speaking of video,
but
Harv the Muggsy Bogues right now.
Oh. Now speaking of video games, Gerb, we were talking a little bit about this before we hopped on. You obviously are a big hockey fan. What was your favorite hockey game growing up?
So both of us grew up playing, starting with I don't know if the very first one, but I'm gonna say Blades of Steel. You remember Blades of Steel?
I remember Blades of Steel. That was NHL. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was NHL.
It was not an NHL game.
No, NES. Sorry, I meant to say NES.
NES. So Blades of Steel. Then it went over to NHL '94, which I believe was the first one to come out. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone?
It might have been 93, but you could be right. 94.
93, 94, but then from there on in, I mean, we got
Josh, I don't care.
96, NHL 96 to me was the perfect hockey game. I loved NHL 96. I remember putting it in the Super Nintendo, and they had that song. I forget who sings it. It was like, y'all ready for this? And then it would kick off, and I was just like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the best.
Gerb, sing that a little bit more. I want to hear you speak that.
But so Blades of Steel.
Blades of Steel 1987.
Yeah.
Wow.
1987.
Oh, wow. 1987.
I feel like such an old man.
Blades of Steel.
I grew up in Las Vegas, so at the time, Vegas had zero hockey. They had zero sports, and so I had to adopt all these different teams. So, I mean, I remember I had hockey jerseys from everywhere. I had Toronto Maple Leafs, I had San Jose Sharks, I had Tampa Bay Lightning. But the team that I stuck with for the most part, up until I think the second NHL strike, was the Philadelphia Flyers. I loved Eric Lindros. I loved the Legion of Doom. And I think partially because I was also a wrestling fan at the time. So I was like, oh my God, my favorite hockey team is a team, a group of 3 people called the Legion of Doom. How sick is it?
Yeah, no, totally. And for us, it was like Gretzky, obviously. We got Pavel Bure. Man, there were so many. But
so speaking of like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut, like collecting things. I've been collecting Gretzky jerseys. I'm like, it's one of those things. Like as a kid, you're like, oh, I wish I had it. Now, kind of have a cool way to make a living, and like you're like, okay, I want to spend stuff on me. So I got this Edmonton Oilers one, I got the Kings one, and I'm currently on the hunt for the Rangers one, the one with the Statue of Liberty. I thought it was the coolest jersey at that time.
Yeah, that's when he went to the Rangers. Then I will say this, boys. I've been very lucky enough to go to a bunch of different hockey games, a bunch of different arenas. But I will say the best hockey live that I've ever seen live has been both in Toronto and in Edmonton.
Oh, Canadian hockey.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Yeah. So I'm gonna throw this in there now that now I'm feeling it. I'm getting excited.
Okay.
Now, here we go, man. So like for me and Harv, we geek out every live event, any show we go to, and it's a hockey arena. We'll take a tour of the entire arena, look at all the posters, all the jerseys hanging off the rafters, and just recently we put out a tweet and a post on Instagram with some of the arenas we've been to, and like Joe Louis Arena was for us. We were kids in a candy store because like obviously Yzerman, Fedorov, and that.
So the cool thing about the Joe Louis Arena, like as a hockey mark, we were the last ever show ever at Joe Louis Arena before it tore down, and we were there. You know, it's like I performed at the Joe Louis Arena, the last show ever in that historic building.
That's so
you know,
cool.
That's cool, right? Like, you know, that's where the Stanley Cup has been won numerous times. And
dude, I bored my wife yesterday watching Game 7 of the 1994 Stanley Cup Final between the Canucks and the Rangers. It was on TV. I'm like, I don't care. Like, we lost the game, but I'm reliving this. I want to watch, you know, Linden score 2 goals, and I want to
somebody score, right? Like, don't give them.
What's that?
In the day and age right now, where we have zero sports or very limited sports, where
yes,
your best bet.
Fan, you need fix.
Oh,
you
for sure.
That fix, yeah. So I
100%.
understand.
Yeah, dude, I was like, I'm watching 94 Canucks. I'm watching all the mid-90s stuff right now. And again, Harv, I mean, hockey, dude. That's for us collecting cards and all that stuff. We geek out big time.
Turn my volume.
Oh, okay. There we go.
There you go. Sorry. Yeah, I love and then going to these different arenas and watching hockey was really cool, especially in Canada. The crowds are electric. There's the hockey fans there. Don't get me wrong. Vegas, now that they have a hockey team, that crowd was pumped. Obviously, I'm a big LA Kings fan now that I'm here. But going to Edmonton, going to Toronto, and watching hockey live was really, really
And the cool thing, in the last 30 years, every state has pretty much a hockey team now. Whereas when we grew up watching, you know, it was like 20 teams in the league, 25. Now that you got teams every state pretty much covered, and it's just amazing to see the growth of hockey in general over all these.
Well,
years.
just speaking of like arenas, Madison Square Garden,
right?
Yeah. Growing up in Vegas,
this Christmas.
Yeah, we only had an IHL team, the Las Vegas Thunder, and the poor thing about Vegas teams back then is that whether it was an IHL team, a minor league team, or whatever, they literally lasted like a season or 2 seasons. So I remember being super pumped about hockey team, and they were
California Seals.
Yeah,
and I will say this, Josh. Honestly, having guys like the New Day in the locker room who are like, you know, pro games and like love playing games and video games, I'm so inspired by that now. Like, I've spent so much of my time besides training just playing so much hockey online. Like, I play Chell every day. I play 5 games a day. Like, I don't know how many games I play, but it's to the point where I'm like, once my son goes down to sleep, I'm just like, all right, here I go. I'm going to play 4 games here. And this is, I'm a big geek for NHL.
So speaking of games, I bought the Batman arcade for PlayStation. I don't know, that sucked. So I think I bought the wrong one. It was the VR version. It wasn't good at all. I went back and returned it. I'm like, what is this?
Dude, speaking of Batman the animated game,
oh yeah,
get the one. You have to get the one for Super Nintendo. I don't know if you remember that, Paul or Gerv or Harv, but the Super Nintendo Batman.
I don't remember that.
Oh, it was so great. It was so good.
Oh man!
Since we're talking about games, how about WrestleMania Arcade in your house? All those games that we grew up playing as well. Like, come on, Josh, you play any of those?
Those games were great, but I'm a little upset that they have not remade some form of WrestleFest. WrestleFest, the arcade game, was the best.
Oh, WrestleFest.
I've never played WrestleFest.
I don't think we played WrestleFest.
WrestleFest was an arcade cabinet, and it had like, I think maybe 8 or 12 characters. And first of all, for anybody watching, my detest for Hulk Hogan is second to none. I was not a big Hogan fan, so my team was always either Jake the Snake and Mr. Perfect or Warrior and Mr. Perfect. But it was literally like kind of like a fighting game, but it was probably, I think, the best arcade wrestling game there is out there. And then WrestleMania, the arcade game, and In Your House, those games are great as well. Dude, like combat stuff, right?
Yeah. And like in what was the one that came out? Raw, the Warzone that came in '98. That was hard to find anywhere. I remember wanting to rent it out, and it was sold out like the day it dropped. It was just like you had to. It was like a wait list for it. And going back to WrestleMania arcade game, I remember our older cousins. They had all the secret codes to like the big like near falls and the pinfalls and all the big high spots. And they wouldn't let us see where the code was on the keyboard, so they would throw a towel over their hands and make totally kayfabe us on like how you can get the secret.
Working you big time.
We were like, we just get the one strike. That's it.
No, when we get a phone call from them, we're like, oh, we're a little busy. Sorry.
Well, before we get in the workout, we have Paul moderating, and he has hopefully some questions from the audience. Paul, what questions do you have from the audience for Harv and Gerb, aka the Bollywood Boys, WWE Bollywood superstars?
Oh,
There you
bale,
go.
bale, bale.
Yeah. Jared Colby over on Facebook asked if you guys can maybe shed some light on. He was mentioning the Randy Orton spot that I guess had
Oh, that one. Yeah,
and they were just asked if at all if there's anything that can be said, if you can shed some light on that.
Nothing. I mean, it was heat of the moment. I just remember everybody going crazy. For me, I just, Randy's such a strong guy. I jumped and he gave me a little push too, and it just timing went off and
we just remembered when we're in that spot, we're like, dude, whatever we take, make it look like $1 million. That's all it was. Like, we were just like, just make it look like $1 million. And like Harv said, like, he's got over like close to 100 pounds on us. So when he threw us, we just went, man. And it became what it is, which is awesome. And honestly, like, for us,
I think that was a spot that, to be the backstory with that, like, we really got close with Randy during that time, and I think it was from there, like, he's like, okay, the kids can bump, and they're good guys, and I know like cool things, like Vince was always appreciative of all the bumps taken, and it kind of stemmed from that. So it was kind of like a badge of honor that we took some really hard calls.
When we were in that situation, we're just like, just make everything look like $1 million. That's it. That's all. We don't have much going on here, but whatever we do, let's make it look.
And I will say this with you guys too, like, even at house shows, there's no dialing it in. Nobody really dials it in like, oh man, there's only, this house is only half full or a quarter full. You guys will make, every time you're out on the road, whether it's a big pay-per-view, whether it's WrestleMania, or whether it's a house show with not a lot of people, you guys make it super special. And you guys are real professionals when it comes to getting over with the crowd, whether it be bad guy, heel heat, whatever you want to call it, or a good crowd reaction. You guys really do an amazing.
Thank you, man. That means a lot.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
I will say that sometimes when I'm on the road with Colby or Seth and Cesaro, and I sit in the audience and watch when you guys have your matches, it's really fun to see that you guys don't take that stuff for granted, and that's really
never. Especially with everything going on right now, like again, being stuck home and not being able to work, so you really miss it, and. Yeah. When we get back, we can't wait to just, go back to what we were doing. And I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. Thanks, dude.
You're welcome, buddy. Paul, what else? What else we got for our friends?
We had a really great question from fellow Sideshow family member, Jeff May. He's watching over on Facebook. And he had a great question that I think would mold really well into the question that you love to ask everyone, Josh, is he would like to know if they could fight any classic wrestlers in their prime, who would it be? And I think that kind of can tie into your WrestleMania question you love to ask.
Oh, well, I have a WrestleMania question I'll ask you boys in a little bit. But yeah, that's a good question. What former superstar or classic wrestler would you?
I think.
Who would you two love to wrestle?
Harv. I mean, I think our answer.
I think
Brett.
Yeah, no, obviously, Brett Owen would have been great.
Yeah.
But I think on a very like being up and coming guy, somebody we could learn from, and like just that whole like just let's get in there would have been great too, like the Brainbusters, right. Just
Arn Anderson and
Holly,
Paul Blanchard, right? And so I think that would have been great. Even like the Usos would love to get in the ring. They're in the generation right now.
It's funny, just I mean, Edge and Christian for sure. There's so many. Just like.
So the Edge and Christian would be great, was because like we actually are trying to do stuff when they first became a tag team. A lot of the geeky comedy, I don't know if you have heels is what we're trying to recreate.
Right, exactly. Like just ENC 2000. I don't know how many people remember them, but that's what we try to like emulate and trying to go with the whole Bollywood shtick. But
you guys didn't say Brett and Owen versus brothers? You didn't say
no,
Brett?
We said that. No, we
That was the very first one we said. Come on,
Josh. Come on.
Making sure.
Josh, like wind it out, guys.
Don't make me Canada. Don't make me leave Canada right now. No, Brett. Yeah.
Yeah, Brett Owen. Brett, I love Owen Hart. In fact, I have a quick funny story. I was lucky enough to go to WrestleMania 9.
Nice.
As well as 12. But that's a humble brag. As well as 12. That's right. I was at
Come
WrestleMania 12.
on, Iron Man match, bro.
Yeah, I was there in the rafters.
Who were you cheering for? Who were you cheering for?
Oh, at WrestleMania 12, I was torn because I loved them both, so I didn't care which one won, right? Because I was a big Brett fan and I was a big Shawn Michaels fan. At WrestleMania 9, however, when Yoko won, I wasn't also upset. I was like, oh, that's great. It's when Hogan came out, that's when I got upset. But before WrestleMania 9, we were walking into the Caesar's Palace, and at the time, Caesar's Palace had they built that outdoor arena for that specific event. That was not an actual arena that's always there.
Right.
And there was, unlike today where there's thousands upon thousands of entrances in an arena or a stadium, there was only one. And we came semi-late to the show, so we missed some dark match between Papa Shango and El Matador, which whatever. But this guy came in, and my little brother is really, really small, and he was trying to get backstage, and he rammed into my little brother and knocked him down, and was so polite, picked him back up, like patted him on the head, and we looked up, and it was Owen Hart, and that was
that's pretty cool.
My one and only run in with Owen Hart. But he could not be the most polite person on the planet. So that's apologetic for knocking over my little brother. Really, really cool guy.
Kicked him after, right?
Yeah,
cool.
But
and actually, you know what? WrestleMania 9 was the very first pay-per-view we watched as well. As far as WrestleMania, yep, on the old black box back in the day.
You know what? It gets a bad rap, that Vegas WrestleMania, but I enjoyed it. I loved it all the way until the end.
Everything. Undertaker's entrance, one of the best ever.
Yeah, Taker's entrance. I love Double Doink. Double Doink to me was great, both as a kid and now as an adult. I'm like, that was so genius.
Narcissist Lex Luger.
Oh yeah, perfect. See, doesn't get the credit it deserves.
No.
What else, Paul? What other fun questions do we got?
Yeah, we did have a question over on Instagram, and I couldn't. It was moving a little fast and it dropped out, so I couldn't get the name of it, but it was on Instagram, and this is an interesting question for Sunil and Samir. They wanted to know: is there a major franchise or geeky team, property, anything that you both have totally different opinions on? Like one of you loves something and one of you loves Marvel, and the other person is just a big DC fan. Is there like a hockey team, a sports team that you both just do not share the same love?
That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
It's a good one. I never thought about it.
I think we were so close growing up, and still are.
As kids, we were torn between Brett, Sean.
Yes.
That's the best.
I was a Sean guy.
Like Gerb was a total Sean guy. I was a total.
Up until
I was when Brett jumped WCW.
Yes,
became a big Nitro guy.
That? Harv became a Nitro guy in the late 90s, early 2000s.
I jumped ship during the Monday Night Wars.
And I would always laugh at him because on Tuesday when the ratings were coming, like, haha, Raw beat them. Raw beat them. So it was great telling him how much, Raw was better than Nitro back in the day.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Gerb. I could not, even though some of my favorite wrestlers were moving over, I just could not support it. I just hated it. So I hated WCW so much. So I'm with you on that. I don't get me wrong. I was flipping back and forth just like every kid at the time or every wrestling fan at the time, but I just could not get behind it.
So I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but we didn't get WCW in Canada till early 98 until Brett came to WCW.
Oh, so, really?
So we didn't get any of the the mid 90s stuff up until, and then when Brett jumped ship, that's when TSN started picking it up in Canada as well. So, but WCW would be played on a Wednesday night, and Raw would still get the live feed on Monday. So Harv wouldn't watch WCW till Wednesday, and I was taping all the Raws on VHS tape back in the day. And then
I even bought WCW Mayhem.
He started doing it all.
I ordered the
WCW. What a Brett mark.
All the way through, eh?
Oh, dude.
Yeah. That's loyalty, though.
Nobody talks about Samir Singh jumping ship to WCW.
No, I get it. I mean, that's loyalty. Before we get into this fun little workout, it's only 2 movements, and for those of you that are watching, just having a great time with my friends, the Bollywood Boys, Harv and Gerb. We're talking everything wrestling, some Bollywood superheroes, obviously some comic book stuff with the Batman animated series. But I ask this question of every guest, whether they be professional wrestlers, which happens to be most of my guests. I have no shame, and some of my Hollywood friends as well. If you guys can book your pop culture main event WrestleMania, for example, it could be Hulk versus Superman. It could be Wolverine versus Spider-Man. It could be any type of match. Last week, I think Paul had a really good answer, which was Ant-Man and Adam, which are two very small characters that shrink into an actual cell, hence the name Hell in a Cell, which I think was really
that's
good.
actually a really good answer.
Yeah. If you could come up with your own pop culture WrestleMania main event, it could be anything. Please use your imagination. What would that pop culture WrestleMania main event be?
That's a good one. I'd have to go with something like, what about versus Rocky Balboa in an Iron Man match?
I missed the first part. I heard Rocky Balboa. What was the first one?
Bane from Batman.
Ooh,
wow.
In an Iron Man match.
Ooh.
Wow.
Because, I mean, Bane can really do damage in the first little bit, but if Rocky lasts the first 20, 30 minutes, he might just go the distance.
Once that venom in his blood wears out,
Yeah, exactly.
He's just a normal guy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm with Harv on this one, so don't even bother asking me. I can't top that answer, so I'm with Harv on this one.
Wow, it's so funny, Gerv. I thought you were going to throw Tupac in there with with something.
How about Rambo versus Tupac?
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Rambo goes over clean.
I was hoping Gerv would say like Tupac and Biggie versus whatever big rapper like Drake and somebody else,
There you go. Drake versus Lil Wayne, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. See, for the title of best rapper alive.
Talking big all the way.
What about Gretzky versus Crosby in like a ladder match?
See,
all right.
Yeah, right. Like
Harv is way better at booking this pop culture WrestleMania than you are, Gerv. I'm telling you.
Harv's a booker.
Yeah. He is the Vince.
So who would win, Jordan or LeBron?
And what's
the match?
Just the match. Just the NBA
Street
final.
Fight?
I'm just saying
non-sanctioned match.
Yeah.
No,
you gotta have a little bit of imagination. Like, let's just say, okay, well, sure. Like, you have a regular match, and then who's the run-in? What, Pippen coming in with the steel chair? You got Rodman off the top rope.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
So
I gotta go back to the drawing board.
Oh, see, you gotta think about it. Think about it.
How about about Gary Bettman versus a player of like the NHL's choosing from the NHLPA, right?
Oh, that's again. See, Harvey, you have the imagination. I appreciate.
Oh wow!
I'm trying. I'm trying.
But you can't top Rocky versus Bane, so you know.
I was just hoping that it was the Bane from the Batman and Robin movie, and not the comic book Bane, because I think, and Paul, you can agree with me, the comic book Bane is pretty much unstoppable. I mean, Tom Hardy was great, but the comic book Bane was such a genius, and that's what drove me nuts as a child or a teenager watching Batman and Robin. I'm like, they made him so stupid. Why did they make him so stupid? But see, that's the comic book nerd in me getting me hot about Batman and Robin.
Calm down, Josh. Boys. Calm down.
Yeah, see?
It's time
Paul,
to
you can agree though, right? You can agree.
I'm totally there, man. I had to mute myself in frustration.
I remember sitting in the movie theater, my jaw dropped, being like, Bane was such an intellect in this Nightfall. Why is he only saying one word? All right. So this has actually been the longest interview. This has actually been the longest interview, boys. So hopefully we have enough time to do this workout. But the workout for today is we're going to do 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, 15 push-ups, 15 sit-ups, 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 5. We're going to go down to 5. So 20 down to 5.
All right, I got to move down.
All right, let's do this. Yeah, I got to move down here too.
It's going to be a quick one.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
You boys, let me know when you're ready.
All right, let's do this.
All right, I'm going to try to do this with you boys. I don't have a lot of room either.
Yeah, neither do I. All right, here we go.
All right, here we go.
20 do this. 20 push-ups.
3, 2, 1, go.
Really fast, Josh. My camera's lagging.
Yeah, it's the bandwidth.
All right, that's 20.
Woo! Oh,
20 sit-ups.
Did he go? Paul, did he go all the way down?
Yes.
It looked like it to me. Yeah.
my camera's lagging. Camera's lagging.
Remember, guys, these are supposed to be done as fast as possible. If I was to write this in a workout for the day, I
already did air
at 30.
I already did air squats today, so and I did
doing the Bollywood version.
1,000 meters. See, me and Harbor, our cardio is all Bollywood dancing. I thought you have a Bollywood dance workout for us or something.
I was thinking about it, but we got so into the hockey talk.
That's true. All right. Here you go, Josh.
Now we're at 15.
15? 15.
Oh,
1,
15.
2, 3.
All right. I appreciate it. 1,
2, 3, 4. 15, right? That was 15.
Josh, I saw you stop, Josh.
I was making sure that Gerv was going all the way down.
Oh, come on, dude. I'm your number. Hey, who texts you every morning about watts? Come on, dude.
That is you. That is true.
Who's like, hey, man, how many cal bikes?
Josh, I'm waiting for my recovery work. Go. Oh, where's that?
15. Woo.
All right, we're almost done.
All right,
chasing it out.
10.
You guys are getting some you can do it, and you're getting some love on Instagram from Brazil. They're saying go ahead. Good job. So some love from Brazil for you folks.
There you go.
How about play some Bollywood
Brazil
music?
needs some Bollywood movies.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do this. 4,
7,
8, 9, 10. Woo.
All right, we're in sync, Gerv.
All right.
You got one more round, buddy. 5 and 5.
Oh boy. Oh,
Yeah.
5?
5.
Oh my god. Okay. 5. I thought we were going up to 10, dude.
1. Nope.
2,
3,
4, 5. Speaking of nerdy stuff, I don't know if you guys can see this. These are all my toys from back in the day. Can you guys see?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. You got Brooklyn Brawler. There you go.
Razor Ramon.
Yeah. Harley Race. Look at that. Look at that rare Hogan. You can only get the exclusive, Canada exclusive.
You
see. Oh, I'm going out, bro.
Josh,
Yeah,
you ribbed
too.
us. You ribbed us here.
Yeah.
I did. Last second swerve or last second change.
And since we've spoken so much about Brett, I'll just show you my Brett poster here, a little painting. There you go. Oh my gosh. Show some love from Brett.
Well, you guys are definitely still in shape. Obviously, when this quarantine gets all said and done, you guys are gonna kill it back when you guys make it back into the ring.
Thank you, brother.
Sure.
No,
appreciate it, brother.
Honestly,
thank you
man,
very
your
much,
workouts
man.
have inspired and helped us out along the way. So thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate it, and like I said to the fine folks at home, if you guys were going to do this workout, pick a number that's a little bit challenging at first. So, we're kind of getting short on time, but start with 30. If that's too much, then do 20. But just go down each round and subtract 5 reps. So 30, if you're starting at 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, and call it a day. Those 2 movements done at a very high speed, keeping that intensity level high while maintaining good form and technique, as you can see, will definitely blow you up, and you'll definitely feel it when you're all said and done.
There you go.
Before we go, I'm a little upset that you boys, being from Canada, don't love Wolverine or Deadpool or Sasquatch or even my one and only favorite, which I'm sure is your favorite too, Paul, Captain Canuck, as your most favorite Canadian superhero. How is that not a favorite superhero of yours?
I think we have heat with Ryan Reynolds for being the most famous Vancouverite in the world.
That's true. That is true.
We need to do the dead Bollywood version
for now.
For now, he clearly doesn't have a Bollywood Bosker as
he doesn't. He doesn't.
No,
yeah, you guys have a Bosker.
You just gave us an idea for our next.
Did we just call out Ryan Reynolds on your show?
Yeah, we just called out Ryan Reynolds.
And I hope you take that call out and you go straight to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever, and you continue to call him out because you never know. He may answer.
Like, please be our friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please put us in Deadpool 3.
Yeah, come on. Can we make a Bollywood version of it?
I don't see why not. I'm not the one that's going to tell you no.
There you go.
Oh,
well, Paul, is
Yeah,
there
that's
any, maybe one, we have like a little bit left. Is there one or two questions that we can ask Harv and Gerv before we let them go?
Yeah, we had we had some people on Instagram and Twitter, Periscope, all over, just giving overall love for both of you.
Thank you.
We did have someone also on where did it go? On Facebook ask if if for your persona, I think this is a really, really great question for the Bollywood Boys. How do you have you taken any influence from the classic wrestling group, the Hollywood Blondes?
Oh,
a lot.
That's a really,
yeah.
No, I mean the camera,
the slate stuff that you see. Yeah.
You know, I mean that's an avenue we're definitely going down right now. And the thing about our characters is there's so much chance to evolve and do things with it. So.
And for sure, I mean, like even Pillman and Austin back. If you watch Austin's work from like that era, unbelievable. Even if I don't know if you ever watch us come up to the ring and we'll be doing rolling the camera. That's all Hollywood Blondes right there. So definitely, we study.
Yeah, I mean that whoever asked that question is.
That's
thank you,
Paul. Sorry, that Paul Vale over on Facebook.
No,
yeah,
Paul.
Hollywood Blondes is huge influence on us. Again, it goes back to trying to be different, and we see those two characters like that was different. So we're trying to bring that back.
Absolutely.
And he did actually just respond, and he said the gear that you guys do is dead on. I'm assuming that's the wind up with the camera. He said it's dead on.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah,
it's all the tape studying that we do right there.
We're not studying.
The gear too is pink and black, right? Which I'm assuming is a homage to the Hart family, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny, for sure. Before we started wrestling and before we were doing our stuff with Jinder, we asked Natty, we're like, hey Natty, obviously she knows our history with Hart family and our love for the family. We're like, we know you wear pink and black. Are you okay with us wearing it? She's like, by all means. She's like, if anyone deserves to wear it, it's you guys. And the Brett's given us his blessings on the pink and black as well. So it's nice to know that we have their blessings to carry on the tradition.
Well, I will say this, boys, before we let you go. And, if you happen to need a Bollywood agent or bad guy manager, I always wanted to be a bad guy manager in the worst way, like a Heenan, right? Like a Jimmy Hart. When you come back, maybe pitch it to the higher ups. Hey, we got the perfect guy. He is from Venice Beach, California. Just throwing it out there.
I mean, we need somebody ringside.
Film our matches,
holding our camera, getting.
I'll throw you the brass knucks. I'll distract the referee.
Camera.
Yeah, whatever you guys need. Let me know.
We need someone to take our Randy bumps for us.
Book
the next guy.
Oh, I don't know if I could take them as good as you guys, but I'll definitely try. How about that?
Just work on your Bollywood dancing. So if you get the call,
we thought you'd be wearing tassels.
Your dancing is on point.
Where are your tassels, Josh?
That is for the sequel. You guys, if you guys know anything about Bollywood, i.e. Hollywood, the sequel is always better than the original, or a good sequel is always better than the original. So the next time we do this, I will be in full gear. I promise. I swear.
Well, if it's really Bollywood, we just rip off this interview and recreate it and post it as a first one.
with the Bollywood Joshy G, i.e. maybe Joshy B for Joshy Bollywood. Sure.
Okay, there you go. Joshy B.
Yeah, there you go. Joshy B. Go.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, Instagram, wherever you guys are watching us. I hope you guys had a fun time watching Harv and Gerv talk about their childhood, about hockey, about the Hearts, about how one family member loved WCW while the other one not so much. And then, of course, I hope you guys enjoyed the very quick workout. But remember, you can make that as long or as short as you like, all dependent on your skill level. For those of you interested in more workouts or giveaway, we still have a challenge going on. That's right. It's my challenge. And maybe Harv and Gerv will do it as well. They are going to win, or you have a chance to win, a Hulkbuster 6 scale by Hot Toys. This thing is really, really, really cool. You can see my workout, the #WithMe video, on our YouTube page for a chance to win that Hulkbuster 6 scale by Hot Toys. Of course, as always, Paul will drop the link in the comments right now. We have until Monday June 22nd at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you have time to watch Monday Night Raw and then do the workout, and then you can enter the Gleam contest with your full workout video. So again, that's really, really cool. Like I said, maybe the Bollywood Boys will do the workout and post it as well, but it is a fun and very challenging workout, as Paul will tell you. So again, check that out. Yes. And for those interested in entering any of our giveaways each and every week, we have our Let Your Geek Sideshow Facebook group, hashtag Stay in Sideshow challenge going on. This group is awesome. It's a welcoming community with tons of Sideshow news and giveaways. You are going to love it. Harv and Gurv, thank you so much for joining me. I miss you guys a lot.
I miss you too.
Yeah, no, miss you too, brother.
hopefully we'll see each other again, whether it be on the road or here in California very, very soon. Paul, thank you so much for moderating. And for all you folks out there, please stay safe, stay in Sideshow, but most importantly, let your geek Sideshow. See you guys.
Thanks. See you guys, brother.
Hey, did you like that video? Be sure to subscribe by clicking the S icon on your screen and click that bell icon to be notified whenever a new video is posted. If you'd like more info on the items featured in this video, click the link provided under Product Info. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to let your geek side show.